Welcome everybody to the Invincible podcast with myself here and the wonderful Julian Becca.
Becca.
I do apologise. You know, I'm really bad with my pronunciations. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, and where's Robbie and Cecil gone?
Well, I don't know. They've gone. Where have they actually gone? Like, right, I can't say this word. So
well, you can try.
Sierra Leone.
Not bad.
Sierra Leone, is it? What is it?
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Correct.
They've gone there. So that's why there's no Robbie.
Although I hear their luggage hasn't quite followed.
No, listen, I'm going to be really honest with this, Julian. We shouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
We shouldn't laugh. But they've got to Morocco and then gone on. But their luggage hasn't. It's stayed in Morocco.
I'm sure Cecil will be fine with his wash bag.
I'll say if he's pulling his hair out, it'd be like us by the end of the trip, like, you know. But why do I feel funny about it, like, you know? Why I feel funny about it, like, you know?
Right.
Like, you know.
Okay.
Trying to prompt you there, like,
right.
You know? So, but I do, you know. But listen, they've gone off there. They're off there for 5 days, and so. We actually said who should we get in, like, and I don't mean to be rude, but Laurie was mentioned, you know, and
was mentioned not to come in.
Well, he was in the end because he had an absolute disaster yesterday. I felt for him yesterday.
Yeah, look, I think production stitched him up. Number one, you know, he wasn't given a laptop,
yes,
which is slightly difficult when you're supposed to be reading out super chats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number two, when he was given a laptop, he then wasn't given the password to the laptop.
And then he tried to get on his phone and the music come on. And then what makes it even worse, he goes, he gets the computer all set up and he goes, right, let's get the first super chat, press his phone, he all just dies on him, like, yeah. Like, you know, we said, look, Laurie, have a day off. Like,
yeah,
you know.
But then production was supposed to give him the starting 11, which is kind of the idea of the show, the starting 11, and then they never gave him the starting 11.
The team was out for about 10 minutes, like, you know, and it was unbelievable because you brought 2 guests with you yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
And one of them had to give him the phone. With the you know, what were production doing yesterday? I think, like, why the cat's away, the mice play. There's that saying, isn't there? Like, you know.
Yeah.
I thought it would. You know, they've got to take a bit of the blame for yesterday.
I'd say they'd take 90% of the blame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Robbie needs to be here to keep them in check.
Yeah, I think he does, and you know, it was just poor. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. And even what they put up on the prompters now,
right? It's very rude. Are we allowed to read the?
No, we won't read. No. We won't read that out. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Yeah.
You know,
at least he spelt it right.
Yeah, he has spelt it right this time.
Yeah.
You know, so. But there you go. So listen, we're here the day after a fantastic. Well, it was a fantastic result and performance in the end, I have to say that.
Fantastic result because we won, and half a fantastic performance. Second half. But obviously the second half performance was far more fantastic than the first half was poor.
We're going to get into that. We're going to have a little chat why we think that the first half was so poor and the second half was so unbelievably magic, like, you know. And it was. I thought the second half, atmosphere, everything about it was unbelievable, like, you know. But we've got to talk a little bit about Jesus.
Yep.
And listen, I think it's fantastic today that you've come in your shall I say your Jesus top?
Well, it is mine now because possession, they say, is 9/10 of the law.
So do you want to elaborate on that, why you have that shirt on?
Well, I think it dates back to Orlando, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and we all allocated our merchandise, and you were allocated a shirt that looked
very similar to that nice.
Yes, very similar to that. But you left yours, didn't you?
I actually left it on the bus for, you know, in my seat.
Yeah, in your seat, you left yours, and I
come back and it was gone.
Yeah, weird that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Completely coincidental. Yeah, but the other thing is, again, coincidentally, the way that I organise my wardrobe, I don't know if you do the same, is that when I've washed something, I put it at the bottom of the pile. So what happens is I then wear everything in the same amount of time. So my clothes wear at the same time. And then when I got up this morning, I go to my pile of clothes, this was at the top.
Unbelievable.
Coincidence. Jesus at the top.
What an hat-trick, by the way.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But do you think that, for me, he's a brilliant player. He's always been a brilliant player, but he didn't believe that he was a great player.
It's incredible. It's incredible when you look at professional footballers. And big up to Fitzhall. I was on a train with him today, and we was talking about that. Like, it is a big thing in football. Even when you're at the top of your game, you even probably have confidence when you're playing at our level and all that. But you think like these elite footballers, the one thing that you've got to have to get to the top is obviously ability.
Yeah.
But I do think confidence in your own ability must come into play as well. And then you see a player lacking in a little bit of confidence like Jesus. Well, World Cup, player. He's been in, Brazilian international. Then you see him playing with confidence because of that first goal. And what a finish that was, by the way.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And to completely change.
Yeah, but as I was thinking back on that first goal, I don't know if you had the same view that I did, but it looked like he should have gone down for a penalty.
Well, it was a penalty.
I know, and I was screaming, go down, because I thought he's going to miss. And because he stayed on his feet, and I've seen this a number of times, and it's one of the things I don't like about the modern game, that players dive, and then the justification for that is that if they don't throw themselves to the ground, the referees don't give it.
Yeah.
And you have that impression that if he'd stayed up, and it was a penalty, just because he didn't go down, he didn't throw himself to the ground, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be a penalty. But if he'd stayed up and missed, as we kind of seen him do so many times before, the referee then wouldn't have given the penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but he did stay on his feet,
and then the finish was
sublime, absolutely sublime.
Like. And then what I liked about I didn't think he played that bad last week. People slagged me off, but he missed. If he'd scored those couple of goals, which he at Monaco and like against Monaco, everybody's saying, "Oh, what a great performance it was." The three goals were all completely different. The second goal now, he gets into that position. He has to rifle that. I know it's sensitive. From the angle that he has to do, he has to rifle it with precision. And he does that exactly. And then the third one he's got, which we all turn around and say, oh, he's got too much time to think about. He had, the whole length of the field to go. And it's great to see Arsenal in those positions when they've got, they've been, the team's attacked us and we've counter-attacked them like that. He's now through. No doubt that he weren't going to score, and the finish for that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was
unbelievable.
Great. I mean, I wasn't sure when he was running through. I thought, and I might have been mistaken, that he was looking around.
He had a look.
He was looking around for the pass, because for me, if I'm a top striker, what I want to do is I'm zoning on goal. If I'm one-on-one with a goalkeeper, even though I'm sort of got 30, 40 yards to run, I'm not thinking about who to pass it to. I'm thinking, I want to score. But his natural reaction seemed to be to look around.
To see if there was a better option.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable.
Well, for me, that might be a negative to his goal-scoring abilities, because he's actually looking for the pass. Could you imagine Ian Wright looking round for the pass in that position?
No, I couldn't. But do you know what? I think it's... look, listen, Ian Wright, unbelievable, and probably like much, much more ruthless as a goal scorer. But... what I liked about that is he's on an hat-trick. If he could slot it across to someone for an easy tap-in, I think he would have done that, because it tells you that, all right, he's not the goal scorer of Ian Wright, but he also tells you he's a team player.
Yeah.
That's what there's something about him. That's why you genuinely want him to do well, because he puts himself, he doesn't put himself, before the team. There are strikers that do.
Yeah.
And he certainly, you cannot put that at his door.
And Ian Wright was one of those. I seem to remember sort of Kevin was coming through the ranks at that time. Alan Smith was very much our top goal scorer. I think he'd won the Golden Boot 2 seasons out of 3. Ian Wright comes. He wasn't looking to play in Alan Smith or Kevin or anyone else.
No.
And those two, and fair play to them from a footballing perspective, they adapted their game to incorporate Ian's personality and Ian's goal scoring form. So they became almost like the support act.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about this Arsenal team now. You don't get, you've got main men and you've got stars of the team, but you haven't just got one. There's no one focus on the team, and that they're all trying to feed one player. that they all play for each other.
It sounds like you're slightly criticising Ian right there, but we're not. We'd have him in our team now, though, wouldn't we?
That's an interesting question. That is an interesting question, because as a goal scorer, you'd think you need him, and that's been the debate over the last few weeks, is that we need a goal scorer. But when you get a goal scorer,
sometimes it takes away.
Yeah, it takes away from the other elements of the team. And if it's all focused on one guy, then the opposition can literally just concentrate their efforts on one guy. For me, you need options, and that's where Arsenal do brilliantly when they're on form, because you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, you know, so it is an interesting point. But what I do like about Jesus is that he is a team player. Like, you know, I think his work rate is fantastic, and I give him his due. He's not shied away from all those sort of things. Now, people turn around to you and say, "Oh, yeah, we expect work rate," and which is a given. Like, we get that, but you're still putting yourself out there, making the runs, putting yourself in there to miss, and which he's been doing. And can you believe the stat that's his first goal in a year at the Emirates? Over a year at the Emirates.
Yeah, in the Emirates. I think the last 2 goals he scored at Preston, and he scored, I think, away to Forest in around January time.
So there's only 2 goals in a year.
No, I think, did he score 1 or 2 at Forest? I think he set one up. I think he set one up and he scored one at Preston.
You could actually say that it was an own goal, the second one, like off Matt Turner, but it was. I think it was given to him. So he's, you can't call him prolific, but apparently it's like buses, isn't it? You wait for ages. Yeah, isn't it unbelievable?
Yeah,
it's
and 3 come along.
That,
but then there is a reason for that. I don't think it is unbelievable, and it's not coincidence, because if he doesn't score that first one, maybe he misses the second and third, like what happened the other night in Europe.
Yeah, but be really shocked. I know he scored against Seville, which was a wonderful goal.
Yeah,
that was
in around October, November time.
September, October time. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, so 2 goals in a calendar from January to now. Then, like, what we're saying is from Nottingham Forest to now, 2 goals.
Yeah,
and then he scores 3 in one game.
Yeah,
incredible.
No coincidence.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Well, for a start, he plays from the start, which obviously helps him. And the biggest thing was he scores a brilliant goal, gives him the confidence, and when he's running through, that's the time where you could be critical of him in the past, that when he's had too much time to think about things, he feels that he's not a natural goal scorer. But feeling you're not naturally good at something is a mindset.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he even mentioned it on his interview yesterday. The goals is not the greatest thing. We'll try and make he's working hard, he's training and all that. Make it your thing.
Yeah, is that if you believe you can do something, you're 90% of the way they're doing something. I have never let a lack of natural ability stop me in anything in my life.
I agree with that as well.
I just totally believe. I don't care if people tell me I can't do something.
I've seen that. I've seen you play football, right? But in your eyes, you are Santi Cazorla, like, you know.
I look like him as well.
Yeah, so if you want to go down that route, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but Arsenal and George Graham taught me that. That one moment I've spoke about it so many times. Anfield '89 changed my life. Not just for that one moment, but it taught me that anything's possible. Every newspaper, every pundit, every fan, including most Arsenal fans, didn't give him a chance. You didn't go, did you? You didn't go.
I've not learned my lesson from Arsenal. I think it's one of the things that I've always been and still am, like that fan, like, that is doom and gloom, because if you remember rightly, going back to the game I think was going to be in March, if I remember rightly.
It was April.
Was it April?
Yeah, it was going to be the week after Hillsborough.
Was it the week after?
Yeah, it was
but I think you might have had to get
Hillsborough.
your tickets in March or something like that. So I got my ticket for it. It was like a real massive game and all that, like, and then because it comes on the Friday night, like work commitments, and we were only young Lynn at the time, and getting up there was a bit of a pain and everything like that. And for we ain't winning it anyway, I'll sell my ticket, and I did.
Worst decision of your life.
I have to say, got to say it. You know what I mean? Like a lesson learned, because Steve always, my mate Steve, he went. Yeah. And it's like it is with you, and like all the 66,000 Arsenal fans that went that night.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Had that wonderful.
But you have seen my seat and my ticket. You have seen my seat.
No, like, I know you was there. I know you was there. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, but it's a mentality thing, isn't it? It's a mentality thing that you didn't believe.
No, I thought we had gone. I
was naive. I was 17 years old. I was naive. If George Graham said we were going to go and win up there by 2 goals, if George says it, that's true.
Believed it?
I believed it, and that's how you can achieve things. So if Jesus looks in the mirror and tells himself, "I'm going to score," and believes it, then he's got the confidence. He's obviously got the natural ability. He's obviously got the desire to be able to achieve. The only thing that could have been lacking was the attitude, which is the confidence.
Yeah,
and I think what he should do, he should get that match ball and he should stick it on his shelf, and every time he goes in, he sees that. Remember what he can do. He's exactly done it, right. And if you've done it,
touch that ball every time he goes out. To go before
and he's done it. Therefore, he can do it again.
Yeah,
and hopefully he does it again on a Saturday.
Now, talking about believing, and the perspective of it all, right? We get in our seats on a Wednesday night before our bums are even warm. We're a goal down, right? And I have to say, as abysmal as it was against Everton, I didn't think it was as bad first half performance as the Everton game, but it was still bad. Come half time. A lot of people moaning and all that. Like, I'm first and foremost, I was never going to criticise Mikel for the lineup, because we're in this thing of we're going to rest players. If you can't rest them in a League Cup, when are you going to rest the players? You know what I mean? Like, particularly when in the FA Cup you've got Man United coming up in a couple of weeks. We haven't got the luxury of playing an Ackland Stanley or a Tamworth or someone like that. We've got to play Man United, so we've got to go strongish in that one. So there's got to be a time to do it. Crystal Palace, for instance, they've not got no Europe. They don't play that many midweek games. They can play all they want. Believe it or not, even the second half, with 1-1, they're taking players off. So you can criticise their manager if you want. Half time comes. There's a lot of unrest in the stadium. Like, you know what I mean. Bit worrying. Like, you know what I mean. I think a lot of pressure on Mikel in those 15 minutes to get it ready for the next 45 minutes. What was you thinking at that time at half time? What would you, and I want an honest thing, I don't want you just to say it because the sake of it. People are negative around you because they were with me. Like, I was trying to be upbeat about it, if I'll be honest. I felt like, it wasn't that bad. What was you thinking?
Okay, well, the first thing was, I think we should get the negatives out of the way. You touched upon it, that start. Now, Kivior, that did remind me of my playing days. That's the kind of goal that you would concede in the level of football that I played in. The ball comes, especially in Jewish football, we didn't like heading the ball. It doesn't help all of us being I was one of the tallest ones at 5'8".
Right. Like
we're not known for our aerial ability.
Right.
And I saw so many goals in Maccabi League scored like that. The goalkeeper, in fact, not so many because the goalkeepers couldn't kick it that far. But if the wind was going that way, then the ball would carry through.
It shouldn't get there.
Yeah, it shouldn't get there. I'd see people head the ball, try and head the ball with their eyes closed. And that reminded me of what Kivior did. Then he almost got away with it because it bounced. And then he was just muscled out of it.
He just got bullied out of it.
It was really, really poor. And you can justify it that Kivior wouldn't be anywhere near our starting 11 if everyone's fit. Maybe he would have played the League Cup game. He's not one of our top performers. He's not crucial to our first 11. But when you've got the injuries that we've got, and in a League Cup game, a player that far down the pecking order is going to get a game. And I actually think, to big him up a little bit, is that when you think about where he is in the pecking order, he's a pretty decent player.
Well, I'm going to say, I can take that on a little bit, like just giving him a little bit of stick. He makes that mistake. I didn't think he was that bad after that mistake. No. So you have to give him credit. Like, I know he's made a mistake, and the next time he gets the ball, he could be panicky. He wasn't. I thought he actually got better when Saliba come on, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's a negative.
So we get the negatives out of the way. Half time, I don't think it matters where you're sitting. You got a lot of negativity in that stadium. I thought the atmosphere in the first half was pretty quiet, and at half time there was a lot of bad language, I have to say. I went to the toilet and people were, very, very harsh, I thought. Actually, when I came out, the guy that had been the most, the loudest in his criticism that I'd heard and been very, very unpleasant, I thought, about Mikel. We score our first goal, and him especially was the loudest in singing Arsenal the greatest football team the world has ever seen. And that for me just sums up. It sums it up, because it's all about the score. It doesn't really matter how you're playing. We could have had the best half ever. If you go back to the Villa game last year, remember that first half? I thought we were terrific in that first half. One of the best first halves of football that we've had. However, we end up losing that game 2-0, and that's the game that probably lost us the league, or one of the games you could do. It's our one blemish on that terrific run. It's all about the result. And that is, I think, you have to acknowledge that football fans aren't that deep. We're pretty shallow characters.
100%. Like, it's all about, I'm with you on that. It is about winning, you know what I mean? And what was great about the second half was we come out. I didn't expect us to come out like that, but I don't really know what I was going to expect.
When he made the subs, then you would expect that.
You have to give Mikel credit for that. He's made the 2 substitutions, and I just think it was an electric. The crowd was lifted by the performance. I don't care what anybody says.
And lifted by the goal.
And lifted by the goal, or the cross from Tierney, and the one that Sterling hit the post and in the bar with. There was an excitement in the stadium. It's always difficult, those sort of games, when you've got 11,000 fans all behind the goal of the opposition, and credit to them, they were brilliant in the first half. But we silenced them as well, with that performance. It was breathtaking.
Yeah, I mean, touching on that, I would argue the other way. I think it makes it easier when you've got that kind of atmosphere in the stadium, because Crystal Palace fans are brilliant. They're one of my favourite away fans, and also when we go to their place, it's loud, but they're not rude, they're not arrogant, they just get behind their team, they sing some great songs, and I think it adds to the atmosphere. I think that's what football's about, and having that many of them there as well, I thought actually boosted the atmosphere, and players, they react to the atmosphere, and it's not a hostile atmosphere. They're there to support their team, and they make the stadium a better place to be.
I love the banner when it says, "Where's your section?" and all that. They took over the section.
I thought that was a few years ago, and they still
they do. So they are very, very well supported, and fantastic supporters. Always have been, to be fair. And
it's great going there as well. Never get any problems there. But it's loud. You don't have to have a quiet stadium for it. You can have a loud stadium. It can still be welcoming.
And it was. I thought it was a great atmosphere in the second half, and we turn it around, buzzing afterwards. Because not only have we got the result, Julian, the performance in the second half was unbelievable. Now you have to talk about the substitution. Saliba comes on, and I felt that Thomas Partey now that right back was. He's done there, isn't it? What I mean?
It was never on unless there's a big need for it. So what other options did he have? Was Josh Nichols on the bench?
Well, I think the option for me was to do what he ended up with. Started up in the second half. To play Timber at right back, Saliba, Kivior and Tierney. That would have been my...
But then you're doing something contrary to what you said at the beginning. If you can't rest players on a League Cup game, when can you?
You're resting Gabriel.
Yep.
Sort of eternity, you can do it somewhere along the line.
Well, you have rested him.
And I think that, he could have, he didn't even I think Timber's more of a danger of breaking down than say Saliba.
Yeah, but if you play Timber at centre half, it's a less intense position.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying Saliba probably should have played, because it's a less intense position in the first place.
But then Saliba, from what I remember, hasn't had much of a rest apart from his suspension.
That is true. But at the end of the day, for me, Thomas Partey just doesn't work there. It just doesn't work. I don't think it. And I also felt a little bit sorry for Sterling, because this is a guy that's got to. try and prove himself a little bit. Like he's got no help from the fullback doing overlaps or underlaps. You know what I mean? Which is a new thing, by the way, but overlaps certainly. And I thought he done okay, but you know, Thomas Partey didn't help him out one bit.
Yeah, well, he's not that kind of player.
No.
He hasn't got. I mean, we talk about Jesus. He's got the natural ability. Partey does not have the speed. You can't just, however much you believe you've got the speed. No. I mean, you know, well, I remember running, you know, racing Cecil. I believed I could beat him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to
that confidence thing again.
That was that confidence. That was slightly misplaced. I had absolutely zero chance of beating him in a race unless I tripped him up first.
Well, yeah, tied his laces together or something like that.
Yeah, but Partey, he doesn't have the speed, so he can't play the game in that way.
He's a different player as well, like, you know what I mean? So, but I thought Timber done well in the second half. I didn't like his central defensive performance. I didn't think he was that great. Maybe because if he'd have probably played Saliba and Timber, it would have been like as good as what it was with Saliba and Kimmich.
But I don't remember us being exposed much other than that first goal.
It just, you know what I mean? He caused a few problems, but I think at the end of the day we dealt with it.
Yeah.
But Odegaard come on and
it changed the game. I mean, Nwaneri probably had his poorest half.
Yeah.
I thought he was pulled out too far to the right, left a bit of too much of a gap in the middle, and he'll learn from that.
Yeah, I think some people said it wasn't fair to leave him. I think we had to do it. I think it's professional sport. You've got to be ruthless, Julian. Like, and Arteta was ruthless. Don't forget, he didn't have the extra half hour to continue. It was just 45 minutes of penalties. So I think that may have made that decision a little bit quicker for him. Does it? And you know, like Odegaard really contributed really well. Fantastic performance there.
Yeah, I mean, he set up the first goal. That ball through to Jesus was
unbelievable.
It was just brilliant. He sees things on the pitch that I don't even see from, you know, from the stands, and I've got a good seat and you've got a good view. His thinking is so quick. He's seen it on the pitch quicker than I've seen it in the stands. It's so much easier to see it. So when you're low down, it's more difficult to see the play. From my position, I can see things straight away. He sees it.
And he needed that performance. Because there had a couple of iffy performances, I think, because of, you know, coming back from injury. But he needed that little bit of you know, bringing on Saka the last one. That was just.
And that brought it on to the...
Yeah.
You know,
I've got to talk a little bit about Eddie. You know, hasn't scored for over a year.
Brilliant goal.
Fantastic header.
Yeah.
I thought he played well when he came on.
Yeah, he looked sharp. He looked sharp.
And be interested to see, you know, he's about to get his first... he's got his first goal of the season. He'll probably get his first Selhurst Park goal on Saturday.
But it was perfect, wasn't it, that he scored? It was kind of a consolation goal.
Yeah.
But it kind of put it a little bit on edge.
Don't begrudge him it?
Not at all.
No, I don't.
Not at all. I liked Eddie, and it reminded me of the first time I saw him. It was a League Cup game, and his first touch, he comes on and scores a header.
Was it Norwich?
It was Norwich, and we won 2-1.
We won,
extra time.
That, and all in all, a good night's work.
It was brilliant. It was really good. You know, I was excited, and I think one of the reasons it was so good was because it was so poor to begin with. I think some of the games that we've been to, when you're ahead really easily, the easy games, they're kind of fun, but they don't have the same.
I think we needed that today. But to go a goal down and then come back and win it convincingly like we did, I felt every time I think we went forward, I thought we was going to score.
Yeah.
Where on Saturday, it was just, you know, we didn't know what he was going to get.
Well,
I think we needed
you actually did. It was so predictable. And the issue was, it wasn't only predictable to us, it was predictable to Everton. So
we've gone out there, produced a really good performance, got the result. I'm going to ask the question that's been asked of me and whatever. I've had a little think about it. Does Jesus start on Saturday?
I'd say yes. I'd say you have to take advantage. I'll put him at centre forward.
Right, okay. That's
because you need to take advantage of this confidence, and if he can kick on.
I'm with you on this. I think if he'd have scored that, say, against Bolton or Preston, like in the last round, I'll probably say no. But that was their strongest team, the team that they're probably going to start with again on Saturday. And I think, confidence, scored hat-trick. I would play him as well, like, you know. Do you think Mikel will, though, or
I don't know. I hope he does. And the other reason, if he has a similar performance again against Palace on Saturday, then this argument of we need a striker kind of falls down the pecking order.
Yeah. Right, so the League Cup draws tonight. Liverpool safely through after a difficult game against Southampton. Newcastle through as well, beating
Brentford. A bit easier, didn't it, for them?
Yeah, 3-0 up, 3-1. And of course there's a game tonight, Spurs versus Manchester United.
Yeah.
There's a big debate going on at this moment in time. I can't believe it is a debate, but it is a debate that there are Arsenal fans that actually want Spurs to win tonight. And I can't believe that.
Well, it's never that we want Spurs to win, but it's who do we want least in the next round. I mean, who would you choose and who would you least want in the next round?
I think if you'd be really honest, I think that I'll take Man United and Newcastle. I'll take Man United first, Newcastle second, Liverpool third.
Okay. So, all right, taking the footballing out of it, how do you fancy 12 hours, probably more, 12 to 14 hours.
Sometimes you have to put the hard yards
in the back of a car.
You have to
which
put
isn't
the
the biggest
yards
car
in, like, you know.
with Robbie potentially sat next to you in that back seat.
You have to put the hard yards in.
Okay, so that isn't a criteria for you.
No, like, you know, I mean, if Brentford would have gone through, then I'll get the criteria.
Yep.
Right. I've been brought up as an Arsenal fan through family. Like, I've got family that are Spurs. Right, so I know how they feel when they're playing us. They don't want us to win a game whatsoever, and I feel the same. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's Man United. If they were playing Newcastle, I would want Newcastle to win today. I do not want Spurs to go through in this cup competition.
Okay, all right. So for
But
me,
you do.
I'll explain the reasons why. I don't want to. Look, I do want to go. I will go anywhere Arsenal are going. I mean, I went to Baku. That was a long, long way, and I couldn't even get there on my British Airways concession. I had to go as far as Istanbul. It was a hard journey to get there. I went, and there was no issue. I was always going to go. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter where Arsenal play. I will be there. But the reality is, it's easier if Arsenal are playing nearer where I am. So it is a
selfish thing.
Yeah, it's a practical. Right, it's a practical consideration. People that go to the game, that it's easier to get to Tottenham from where I live than it is to go to Newcastle. And I love spending time with you guys on the motorway, but you know what it's like coming back.
It's a tough trip. It is a tough trip.
I mean, we will finish in Newcastle by the time we finish the fan cabs, probably about 1 in the morning, 12 till 1 in the morning.
Well, I'm staying up there. We've got to stay up there.
You won't stay up there. You'll do exactly what Robbie tells you to do. You'll be back in that car, and we'll have 7-8 hours, and we'll get home about 7-8 o'clock in the morning.
Do you remember the time we was organising to go Newcastle?
Yeah.
And we turned around and said, like, well, can we go by train and all that? And Robbie goes,
you can do what you like.
You can do what you like. If you want to go up train, go by train. So we was doing I think we was doing the Christmas special with the gingerbread men, weren't we?
Yeah, and I was looking at the train line. So I said to Robbie,
we booked it. Yeah. We said, right, we're going to book like we're going up by train. He done his absolute nothing.
No, what he says, you can go up by train. If that's what you want to do, you can go up by train. It's not a problem, but don't expect to ever come with us again. So we didn't really have a choice, did we? So the reality of it's going to be, if we get Newcastle away, it's 7-8 hours in the car coming back from Newcastle with potentially Robbie in the back. And I'm not saying that's the biggest criteria for me.
I don't. But it is a practical. It's up and down in one day.
You will do. So then, therefore, you'd rather Spurs get through, yes?
I'm going to, I feel I've got a little bit of influence with Robbie. You've
got a little bit of
influence. I think I can.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you in the back of the car then.
Just working around a little bit.
But it's not just a practical consideration.
We're getting a Hilton hotel as well, don't we?
We don't. We're not going to get any.
But you're not going to back me up on this one then?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is not a democracy. Yeah, it's a dictatorship. You know that. We will be in the back of that car, coming back, no Hilton Hotel. We'll be getting back about 8 in the morning, and then we'll be doing the Invincibles at 11.
Next day, like, yeah. I think we can convince him.
Okay.
We'll see, like, if we get Newcastle, like. But
yeah.
So that is the reason you want.
No, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is a practical consideration, is that I think we've got a very good chance of beating Spurs, especially over 2 legs. Spurs can be.
I don't enjoy those games, Julian. I
You
really
do.
don't. I enjoy them when we win, but I don't enjoy them.
And we've got more chance. All right, so I don't want Liverpool. I think we've got less chance.
Why don't you want Liverpool?
Okay, for a start, it is a long way, but it's less. It's closer than it's closer to Newcastle. But the reason I don't want Liverpool, you look at the league table; they're the best team at the moment. So I'd rather be playing Spurs over 2 legs.
We should have beaten them at home, and we had like.
We should have beaten them at home, but look at Tottenham. How can you not enjoy watching Tottenham play?
I get that. Yeah. I get everything that you're saying.
You know,
right?
lost to Ipswich.
Yeah, but I remember 91 when I was cock-a-root that we was going to win that game. And like, when you talk about form, that was Arsenal were top of the league. They were mid-table, and they go and do us. I can't have. It
was one game. That was their cup final. We were going for the double. Now, for a start, it was never a free. It was never a free kick for Gascoigne's goal. Never a free kick. Seaman should have saved it. There was a handball, I think it was by Justin Edinburgh in the second half, and we should have got a penalty. Everything went their way. Now, the difference is this one's over 2 legs. So I'm not saying they can't.
Well, the last time we played 2 legs, they done us.
I think we had 2 in a row. I think the last time we actually beat them over 2 legs.
Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah,
it was
the time before.
We lost 5-0 there.
No, we lost 5-1.
5-1.
Bentner and Adebayor had a bust up.
And the thing is with... I think didn't we beat them over 2 legs at the last time? And Van Persie, I think, scored, and I can't remember. You know what I mean?
I think we did something similar to them as they did to us. But what I'm saying is that practically, I don't think there's too many people who argue that Liverpool are a better team than Tottenham. So we've got more chance of beating Tottenham over 2 legs than we have Liverpool.
Yeah, but Man United, are they better than Spurs, or are Spurs better than Man United?
No, they're roughly,
who's favourites today then?
Favourites to win the competition?
No, favourites to beat Man. Who would you, if you got like one of your tenors in your pocket? I know how you're willing to. I've got to say, since the thing where you were sort of criticised for not paying your bill and all
wrongly
criticised or whatever, wrongly accused.
I've had a public apology for that.
Yeah, and I've noticed that you've been a little bit more with your money, like, you know what I mean? Like, we went to a function on Monday, and you went and bought a round for.
I bought 2.
Yeah,
so but I'm happy to. I just don't like waste.
So,
that's all.
So you got one of your tenors is coming out of your pocket now. Who are you putting your money on?
Put money on Tottenham because I think it's pretty even. But I think at home,
you think they're a better side?
No, I think at home, I think it's very even.
Home advantage.
Pardon? Yeah, I think home advantage will be key.
If it was the other way around, you go Man United.
Correct. I think they're pretty evenly matched. They're both teams that can put a performance in, and we've seen in recent weeks that both of them are capable of it. And I think they're both teams that can capitulate as well. Yeah, I think it'd be a really good game. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it.
Well, I'll get that, like, you know what I mean? So, look, if I had a preference, just want Spurs out, and then I'll take Man United on in the semi-final. That's what I would do, like, you know what I mean?
And why would you rather Man United over Newcastle? Because Newcastle are probably a poorer team than Man United.
Are they?
Yeah, I would have said so. Especially, I think Man United with a new manager, they're probably on the up. So why would you prefer Man United?
I think that we've got maybe a little bit of the travelling side of it and all that, like, you know.
Okay, so it does make a difference to you.
Yeah, like, but they're all 3 Northerns. That's what, you know what I mean. It's still a late night, whatever you're thinking and all that.
No, there's a difference between 4 o'clock in the morning.
And I just think, like, do you know what I'm going to say, Man United? Because I also think that, you know, you're going to have 11, 12,000 Arsenal fans there, you know, and they're not going to be stuck up, you know, on the roof like Newcastle. I don't like Newcastle. I love Newcastle as a city. I love the actual stadium's fantastic.
It's
but
great at the weekends.
I don't enjoy it.
It's not the best place.
No, it's just to watch football. I don't think.
No, I'm talking about, you know, you talk about a great place. It's
Great stadium.
Our nights out at Newcastle have been brilliant.
They're brilliant.
Really enjoyed it.
Listen, they always look after you up there.
We've done the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
We've gone up the night before. We had a brilliant time. But going there on a weeknight, there's not.
No, it's not as probably so. And I think. I've always had a soft spot for Newcastle with their fans and everything like that. I think it's fantastic, and I do actually like their ground. I do.
Yeah, it's just where we get stuck.
It's just where. Do you remember back in the old days when they had no roof? Do you remember it freezing cold and all that? I never liked it then, and all of a sudden it's got this lovely stadium, and we're just put up right in the gods.
Yeah.
And then
you're not part of it, are you? You feel removed from
it all.
So it's a bad fan experience on 2 ways. Number one, the travel, and number two, actually being there.
Yeah, and that's probably the reasons why I wouldn't like. I'd probably take on Man United. But if I got a choice, Tottenham get stuffed today. Man United go through, and then Newcastle. I'm going to be really honest. If Tottenham win today, then I want them in the semi-final.
Yeah, because then it's like 87, isn't it? We beat them in the semi in 87 and went to beat Liverpool in the final.
That was one of the best experiences. Like you've had Anfield, so take away Anfield.
I think that was my second best experience.
Yeah, so that's my best experience.
Yeah, that which one? The replay or the second leg? I think that.
No, the replay. The second leg was great. Do you remember the second leg? If people don't remember it, it poured down with rain all the time. It was 1-0 down. Niall Quinn and Viv Anderson got the goals. We played really well that day. We actually went 1-0 down, so it was 2-0 down on the field. We come back to 2-2, won the game 2-1. And I actually thought we was going to go and win it that game. We was so much better.
We were.
And then there was a toss of the coin for the next game. It was back to White Hart Lane. You can tell the first bit of the story at half time, which is in folklore for Arsenal fans.
It changed. I mean, George Graham went into the changing rooms, and he said in his autobiography that he didn't really know what to say. He was lost. At that time, Spurs were probably marginally a better team than Arsenal. At least it was pretty close. You couldn't say that Arsenal would dominate.
Yeah, we was on the rise.
We were on the rise, and that they were really.
That was coming to the end of their sort of.
They'd beaten us 1-0 at Highbury.
Yeah.
Clive Allen again.
Yeah.
Clive Allen.
That was on a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on a Sunday. They've both games were on a Sunday.
I think the following Sunday or whenever it was, 2 weeks later.
1-0 up, half time 1-0. George Graham's in the changing rooms, and he doesn't really know what to say. He's still a pretty young manager at that point, and the Spurs announcer comes over the tannoy and starts giving the Spurs fans the ticket information for Wembley.
Yeah.
And George Graham just says, listen to that. Just listen to that. They think they've won it. And that's all the motivation they need. They just went out after that, smashed them. Smashed them
in the second half. And the greatest thing I remember is there was about 6 minutes to go, I think there was, and the whole of Tottenham's 3 sides, because we had the whole of the Park Lane, were singing, we're going to Wembley, we're going to Wembley, you're not. Do you remember that? And you just had to take it. And then about 2 minutes later, Ian Anderson scored, and then Rocky got the winner.
Yeah.
And what was we singing at the end? We're going to Wembley, we're going to Wembley, you're not. And it was a great experience.
It was probably after Anfield. That was
an unbelievable experience. And of course, then went on to beat Liverpool in the final. Yeah. And the rest is history when it comes to that.
Yeah. I think we kicked on after that. I don't think Anfield 89 wouldn't have happened
with that. And there's little comparisons, if I'll be honest, between Mikel and George Graham. If you know, there's been sort of things about it, Now, I think we need to win a trophy, and this might be, if we was to win this League Cup, it might kick us on to win bigger and better things. You know what I mean? Like it did with Arsenal. So I think it's very, very important that we win this game. We still take this seriously. Now in January now becomes very, very busy for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because obviously after Brighton on the 4th, you know what I mean? Now we have that League Cup tie in between that, and then the FA Cup, then the League Cup again. No, we have the FA Cup, then we play Tottenham.
On the Wednesday, is it?
On the Wednesday. Aston Villa then is on the Saturday, and then there'll be the League Cup semi-final again, and then after that we got Girona. So it's absolutely busy January now.
The only time we could have a weekend off is if we don't beat Man United in the FA Cup, because then I think they've got the FA Cup fourth round
on
a weekend in January. So long as we beat Man United, we're again playing 2 games every week. All through
January. So it's going to be a busy month. We want that though, because that shows you being successful. The one good thing about that, one team that hasn't got it, is Chelsea.
Yeah.
But Liverpool are in the same position. They've got to do the same thing.
But they've also got their Conference League, hasn't they, Chelsea? So it's not really...
It's not so bad.
Not so bad. They've got 3 squads. A lot of the players, a lot of their, what you consider their first 11, aren't even named in their...
No,
so they're basically not in the League Cup. They're not in... Although they are in Europe, it's their second string. Yeah. It's not phasing their...
I think in the FA Cup they've got quite a good draw, if I remember right. And of course, don't forget, like for Liverpool, in the FA Cup, Accrington Stanley, I think it's at home.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
So they can have a look. We need to get past Man United and then play Tamworth in the next round. That's what we want. Like that'd be the ideal.
Who's playing Spurs?
It'd be the ideal scenario. Like
be a new ground on my spreadsheet as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Like, no, we want them at home though, don't we?
No, well,
now see there, you can't be saying don't want travelling there because you want your bloody spreadsheet.
No, but there's different things. There's different criteria. One criteria is I don't want to go travelling. Tamworth isn't that far.
Yeah, your chance of getting a ticket's going to be very difficult.
Well, I think you'll find that.
Yeah, well,
I usually succeed.
Yeah, you normally succeed, like that.
Yeah,
way. So
I usually get tickets.
Any Tamworth players out there? Go
so yes, it's not that far. It's a new ground on my spreadsheet. That is important for me. And it's a more intimate experience as well. I love going to those grounds. That's why I like Bournemouth so much.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the draw. And of course, this just finally finished now with the weekend. We've got another difficult league game against the same opposition. I don't like that, Joe. I don't like that. It could happen with Tottenham. If we get Tottenham, we could be playing Tottenham 3 times in January. It's bad enough playing them twice a year, but 3 times in one month is going to be tough.
You could even,
Happy New Year.
Look, in the unlikely scenario that
could be playing Man United 3 times.
Well, that Tamworth don't beat Tottenham in their 3rd round, we could end up with Spurs in the 4th round.
Oh,
imagine playing them 4 times.
Oh God, don't.
You'd need proper therapy, wouldn't you, after that?
Oh, do you know what? I don't sleep well in those games now. Do you know what I mean? Like, January. Like, I'm not even going to bear thinking about it. Let me just enjoy today. Yeah. We're through.
Just going back to that, I remember we went to Spurs. I don't think it was last season. The one where I think we were 3-0 up. 3-0 up at half time, and the second half, you were just unbearable. Oh. The language that was coming.
I've gone.
Yeah, you've gone. And then at the end, when you'd think you'd be relieved, you still carried on.
No, I was, generally like rails, go away.
Yeah. Well, you used slightly more colourful language than that.
I was just, that game, I don't like that game because I've obviously got a lot of friends and all that, like they're on it, like, you know what I mean? And I was annoyed with the players because they put me through it. You know what I mean?
And I understand that you get stressed during it, but once...
You couldn't believe it. I was like that.
Yeah, but the final whistle is your relief. That should be your biggest therapy.
Well, it was. Don't worry.
No, it wasn't. No,
well, not at that moment in time.
You just carried on. Yeah. It's like we were still playing the game.
Oh no! And then when I got home, I'm relaxed and I can enjoy it. Like, you know what I mean. So listen, I'm very emotional when it comes to watching games, as you well know. Like, you know what I mean. And that was tough. Like, But going back to, I love Crystal Palace as a place. I think it's the worst place to watch football through a letterbox.
Yeah, but then that's why we don't sit at the front. That's why
we sit at the front.
Yes, sorry, we sit near the front. And what you want, because there's a great website, and I'm not here to push it, but it's viewfrommyseat.com. So what you do as an away fan,
you can look where you are.
You look at the different views. And that's what I do, and then I always, and this is one thing that you need to appreciate, that when I phone up, I actually phone up for tickets. I'm on hold for quite a long time, and I always have to. I try and pitch it a few minutes before.
Listen, when it comes to that, you know what I mean. I've got to say, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
and do it like, and you sort it out. But if you do get in the back there, it is like watching it through a letterbox.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Horrendous.
Yeah, and you're too far back. The roof is very low, but you need to be at a lot of these grounds between rows 10 and 20. And you know, when we went to Fulham, you got to check out the posts. It's all about research in exactly the same way.
I'll give you I never do. But
in the exact same way, Mikel and the trainers, the coaching staff, they look at the opposition and they study the opposition. I look at the seat, because if we were one row back from where we were at Fulham, we were behind a post.
Yeah.
And you can't, and it's obscured. Okay. And okay, with that particular game, it wouldn't have made so much difference.
No.
But it does. It hampers your enjoyment. It is supposed to be an entertainment. Sitting behind a post isn't.
Right.
And it's amazing with football. Football fans put up with so much nonsense.
Yeah, we do.
Because ultimately, if we don't take that seat behind the post, it's thousands of people that will take that ticket.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? So, just quickly before we finish, as we're coming to a close now, difficult game, this one, because I think it's a difficult game because, one, we're away, but two, because we played them on Wednesday. I don't like that, but obviously there'll be a few changes. Confident. I'm a little bit more confident because what I see yesterday's game was a little a gap of a golfing quality.
Yeah,
I see that yesterday, and I think if Arsenal can hit the form that we know they can, we've got no problem. We haven't hit that form that often. Do you think that? What's your feelings? Do you think we can win this game, or I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, Julian? A draw is no good to us by any stretch of the imagination. Now, a draw ain't good enough.
Okay, yeah, a draw isn't good enough.
Are you up there with that?
I mean, look, if you want to win the league, you're quite right. We need to start winning these games. Now, my feelings are that first goal wouldn't have happened if you've got our normal centre-back pairing, which should be playing on Saturday, barring any other injuries in training. So that first goal doesn't happen. That first goal doesn't happen, it's a totally different game. And also, they're not going to be able to... And to be fair to them, they didn't sit back like Everton. They actually tried to go forward a couple of times. But at home, they're going to be even more adventurous. The other part of it is they played their first 11 players. So we talk about they've got less games, they're not in Europe. I think our players come into that game slightly more rested than their players.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the other thing, I just wanted to quickly notice that they put the three up front, didn't they, for the corners and all that. So they'd be interested if they use that tactic again. And that's two teams now that have done that tactic against us. And we went one for man for man, which normally if you play, you always have an extra one in. But we took the gamble and said no. We're if you want to bring three up, we'll just keep three back. So it's very, very interesting. Prediction: what are you going to go for?
I think I don't think they're going to score this time. I think it's going to be a 2-0 game.
I've said 2-0 as well, So, but we could come back here and it could be a draw or defeat. You don't really know what you're going to get with Arsenal at this moment in time, and that is. Well,
you can predict it on the way that we've been playing over the last few weeks. Also, you look at how Palace have been playing as well. And Palace have been a good team. They've started hitting form. I think it's been really important for them that they got 2 new defenders in the summer. It took them a while to bed in, and they've now had the same 3 defenders playing. They usually play 3 at the back with wing backs, and they've played together, those 3 players, last 12 out of 13 games. So you start building relationships, and I think Palace's form has benefited from that. I think they suffered a little bit on the game yesterday because the Colombian boy at right wing back was suspended. I'm not sure, we were going to look into it, whether he's going to be playing Saturday.
But you're looking at that day, that was just one and only job.
Yeah, it wasn't my one and only job. I would estimate that he probably... I'd actually phoned someone earlier to find out whether he was playing, and I couldn't get through.
I don't really recall him being sent off, so I think it's just the one game.
He could be back, because that was the position that I felt we would exploit, and we did. That they had a choice of the young boy, who, one thing, let's give credit to Laurie, he did pronounce his name very well.
Very, very well.
Do you want to give it a go?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
So we'll just call him the young boy.
Yeah.
That got booked very quickly.
Yeah.
So we did exploit that position. Then Nathaniel Klein came on, and I thought he struggled a little bit. So having the Colombian boy, it begins with M.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want to try that?
No,
I'm not going to try
that. Like, I thought Klein done well when he come on, but you know they had to make that decision, didn't they? Like we forced them into doing that, like, you know what I mean, and that's what you want, like, you know.
But the fact that they played the young lad in that position over Nathaniel Klein says what the manager's confident is in Nathaniel Klein. Yeah. So let's hope he is suspended again.
Right, we're going to have to talk to production after this, because we don't know when the next Invincibles is going to be, do we?
Well, what's next Thursday? It's Thursday,
Boxing
Christmas.
Day.
Boxing Day. Can't it be on Boxing Day?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
All right, so I imagine, I don't know when Robbie comes back, if we're going to do it before Christmas.
I don't know when his luggage is coming back either.
Or it's going to be out. I reckon we'll talk to production and we'll see what's happening, see if it may be that we might have to be in on Christmas Eve. So I'm reluctant to wish everybody a happy Christmas if we're going to be here, like, you know what I mean? So I'm going to say we wish everybody a Merry Christmas if we're not going to be doing the show next week, but I imagine that we
can always doubly do it.
We're going to do it. I reckon we're probably being on.
Yeah, but be like Saka, to double up on him.
Double it. Well, I think we probably might have to come in Christmas Eve and do a show. I don't know. We'll find out what's happening, like, you know, over the course of the next couple of days. But listen, Julian, thanks for coming in today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it today.
We've been able to talk. There's been
talk.
Less interruptions.
It's been a good bit of therapy. Look, listen, it's great when Arsenal win. It's so much easier. Don't forget to everybody that there is going to be a massive watch along in where are they?
Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I said it there. They're there. They're doing a massive watch along. Cecil,
it was explained to me. It's a watch party.
The
difference is they're not going to be shown live, I think.
Is it not?
No, because I think there's a watch along here. And they've got a watch party.
Oh, right. So they're doing a watch party afterwards. So check out, obviously, the watch along as normal then. And then there's going to be this watch party, which is going to feature, you know,
lots of people from
Sierra Leone. And also the two big hitters. You know what I mean? Robbie and Cecil, as they quite rightly say now, like, you know, it's all about them.
Yeah, because their luggage got left in Morocco, but we got left in London.
Yeah. So we feel like a bit of luggage today then, don't we?
Left luggage. Although we did get to go to the game, and that was
really we went to the game yesterday. They actually missed the game yesterday, like, because
one thing Robbie said, he goes, he argued with me, and he usually
never argue you, Julian.
No, he argued with me. He says, I'm only missing one game. I said, no, you're not.
You're missing two.
He's missing two. He goes, no. He goes, I checked Arsenal.com/fixtures, just like you always tell me. I said, you might have done that, but what you didn't do is you didn't appreciate that we could be having a League Cup game, because they agreed to go before that League Cup game was. We got through the last round, I think.
Yeah.
So you have to check. Yeah. What you got to do is you got to check the websites of when these games are, the schedule.
A little bit of advice for you, Cecil and Robbie.
And then you're not mid-flight missing first half. Can't even watch it on TV. Yeah.
But
live and learn.
Live and learn, like, you know. But we'll be there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because we're proper fans.
Yeah,
you know
proper Arsenal.
Proper Arsenal. We are, like, you know what I mean, not going off to parties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like, they are, not that we was asked, but we would have declined because we want to go to the games.
Yeah, exactly. Been nice to be asked, though.
It would have been nice to have been asked. But listen, so don't forget, so it's the watch along on Saturday, but there will be a watch along party. I've taken that, will be coming out afterwards. Don't forget, everything will be covered over the weekend on AFTV. From me and Julian, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support over the last year as well. Like, we do much appreciate it, the comments and all that, like, you know. So thank you very much. We're out of here. Have a great day.
The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.